Hey guys, Tom Lobianco here. Welcome to the show. Today, I have an important interview with a 27-year-old woman from Indiana named Paige. Um, Probably familiar with my more political reporting in interviews, which I typically do here. But if you are a regular at 24 Site News, you've been following along, you also know I've been reporting on a developing criminal case involving a politically powerful church tied to Indiana's lieutenant governor. It's the church where he works as a pastor, and his employer, Nathan Peternel, and the son of Nathan Peternel, Jonathan Peternel. This is a very important story. It's a developing story. So today on the show, I have an important update from a woman who has a story to share about Nathan Peternel. This is the guy who is the lead pastor of the Life Church in Indiana. Also, he is a top advisor to Micah Beckwith. He is his boss as the person who employs Micah Beckwith, the lieutenant governor. So he employs him as a pastor. Micah Beckwith, is performs two duties. He works full time as lieutenant governor. He also works full time as a pastor at Nathan Peternel's church. And in this interview with Paige, she details an incident which happened with Nathan Peternel and her then fiance in private at Life Church in Fishers, Indiana, which is just outside of Indianapolis, just north of Indianapolis, in January of 2016. A couple notes before we get into this. Number one, first, guys, this is a sensitive topic. If you have children around, I would highly recommend that you either put in your earpods, put in your earbuds, or save it to listen when children are not around. Okay, given the very sensitive nature of this. Also, a reporting note: I have verified Paige's identity. I've verified her story, but I'm only using Paige's first name at her request, and want to be respectful of that there. So this is, just a little background on the reporting process on this. I was able to verify details of what she says here and identities of folks, including her. And this is the first time that Paige is coming forward publicly with this, putting her name on it. Okay. Now, I should note, you can watch the original video that she posted about 10 days ago, almost 2 weeks ago now, where she replayed this story. She told her story publicly for the first time. At the time, she did that anonymously. As part of the reporting process, I was able to verify who she is and confident in this story. So now pushing this out widely, it's important. And based on my reporting and my ongoing reporting, I suspect this is part of a larger pattern. But again, want to be very diligent in the reporting. I don't have anything yet that I can say publicly about that. Only I can just tell you to stay tuned here. Stay tuned to 24 Site News. And I will keep bringing those stories forward as I'm able to verify them. And thanks, guys. Thank you for being here. Remember to like, share, subscribe to my site, 24 Site News, on the YouTube channel. Also, do like, share, and subscribe Paige's channel. You can find that with her original video right at the top of the YouTube comment section and linked in 24 Site News. All right, guys. With that, let's get to the interview with Paige. So, um, I guess we'll just dive right in. This is a story about Nathan Peternel and the Life Church in Fishers. What was your experience? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can just start with the basics. I went there a handful of times. So I wouldn't really consider myself a full-on member, but I was definitely familiar with the church. And then I actually fell pregnant at 17 years old and was looking to be married. And I was urged to get married at Life Church because it would be affordable. And it was just so close by, close to home, and so that's what I did. And unbeknownst to me, I ended up having a really negative interaction with Pastor Nathan. So, yeah.
And for folks that haven't been following the story, so Pastor Nathan Peternel is the head pastor of Life Church, which is a group of 4 churches in suburban Indianapolis. Pastor Nathan Peternel is very close with the Lieutenant Governor of Indiana, Micah Beckwith. They've been working together to move him up the chain in politics. They forged a close relationship with Charlie Kirk in recent years. And 2 weeks ago, Pastor Nathan Peternel's son, 24-year-old son, was arrested on 4 felony counts and allegations from police that he was trafficking in child pornography. In addition to that, police also say they discovered 50 videos and pictures of Nathan Peternel and his wife, Chrissy Peternel, having sex on the son that was found on the son of the cell phone, Jonathan Peternel. This is kind of the story up till now that's rapidly developing. And Paige, you had this experience with Nathan Peternel a decade before all this. This happened about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was the winter of 2015 going to 2016. And then I did reach out after the incident in August of 2017. So like a year and some change later. I had a lot going on in my life at the time. So it took me a good minute to get that confidence to speak up. But, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And thank you for speaking up now. This is important. It's,
Oh yeah. I know there's other people with similar stories as well. And I think that, things happen at certain times for a reason. I personally am disappointed that when I spoke out, nothing was done about it, but it's never too late. It's never too late to talk about things. So,
yeah. So, and only what you feel comfortable with talking about, of course, because of, the nature of this. But what happened when you started counseling, you and your fiance, started premarital counseling there?
Yes. Yeah. So we sent in an inquiry about getting in for premarital counseling. And we had our initial visit with Pastor Nathan, and it went well. He gave us kind of the rundown of what to expect. And he did mention that there would be a session about sex. And in my mind, I was just thinking, it'd be kind of about how sacred it is and maybe referencing scripture about it, how it's between man and woman, et cetera, et cetera. Like pretty, normal conversation. But after we were told our first session would be about trust. And that is what we talked about until the very end. And I do want to note that we were in his office after hours, and there's like a side building where his office is. It's not in like the main area of the church, but it is connected on the same property. And yeah, so there was nobody there, and he had his office door closed, and it was just me, my fiance, and Pastor Nathan. So it was kind of like an intimate setting. I didn't think it needed to be that like closed off, but like I said, it started out normal. We talked about trust, and then seemed like we were wrapping things up. And then he told us not to leave because he had a few more questions for us. And he started asking us sexually explicit questions, mainly revolved around me. And I can list some of those questions for you without being like too vulgar, but you'll get the idea. The first question is he just looked at me and asked me if he used the O word, but gotten to the finish line. And he knew that I was pregnant. So like, obviously he knew that we had done that. The next question he asked is if certain things on my body needed to be touched in order to achieve that. And looking back, I just wish I would have been able to stand up for myself. But I think a lot of really young people, like at that age, struggle with standing up for themselves. So I wish I could just gone back and said something, but I just felt so much pressure to answer his questions. My fiance, he was also very young as well. And the next thing he did was focus on my fiance and ask him if he had to use his fingers or, you get the idea, something else to achieve me getting to the finish line. And he was kind of red-faced and raising his eyebrows, like just in his chair at Pastor Nathan. You could tell he was frustrated, didn't want to answer. and Pastor Nathan repeatedly told him to be a man until he answered the question. Like, he said it like 3 or 4 times, fairly aggressively. He wasn't yelling at him, but he did have some aggression in his voice. And it was like after he got that answer from him, he proceeded to ask us more questions about toys and pornography and what we think is okay and if we do those things, etc., etc. So it ended up very uncomfortably, and it didn't really set in until after the fact how messed up it was. So we decided just not to go back. And then, like I said, it was sometime later we sent out emails to his fellow pastors. Those pastors do not work there anymore, as far as I know. They didn't do anything, and then we actually wrote a letter. That letter is in my YouTube video for anybody to see. And we sent that out, and nothing was done about it, and never got an update. Obviously, Pastor Nathan is still there, and I believe he's the president of all of the branches of Life Church, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you report it to the Did you send it up to the Assemblies of God, to the John or the Pentecostal accrediting thing? Which
Yep, that's who I sent it to, and
okay.
I addressed the actual letter to Life Church, but we sent it to the Assemblies of God in Springfield. Is it Missouri? Yeah. Yep. That's who we sent it to, and didn't hear anything back. And I know that they're in a lot of hot water right now, so it's really interesting that they've got themselves wrapped up in so many even worse situations. I don't consider my situation even scratching the surface of some of the stories that have come out. So yeah.
And for folks, that's a really incredible NBC News investigation, which came out like a week ago, I think, just revealing decades of the Assemblies of God hiding these reports, things that they knew about, and shuffling the same way the Catholic Church did in its own sex abuse scandal, shuffling pastors between churches to hide it. So you just, it is a lot. That's a lot. And did you well, and you guys, you felt uncomfortable in the moment, and then you decided, we have to tell somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to right away, but I was a high risk pregnancy and I ended up having a big heart operation. So I had a lot of recovery to go through. But right after that recovery, I decided, you know what, this is time. This is time to speak up. And like I said, nothing was done about it. And I'm a firm believer in truth. And I'm a firm believer that things like this need to be discussed. And I know that there are more people because more people have reached out to me. And I hope that there's nobody that had worse done to them. But this is a big issue. This is a big issue in our world right now. And it involving minors, involving children, even younger than what I was. And it's something I'm really passionate about. And I think this is a really good opportunity to shed light. I know a lot of people are confused on the photos that Jonathan had of his parents. But from my perspective, I kind of already knew some things. So for me, it made sense. I will say the only other weird thing that I had noticed about Nathan was one sermon that like I said, I went to a handful of his sermons before the marriage counseling classes. But I did witness him say one time that, a lot of people say that after you get married, you don't have fun in the bedroom anymore. Well, me and my wife, we have a lot of sex and we use toys, and let me just say, I'm a satisfied man. And I thought that was really strange. And that's the only weird thing I had.
And he said this in front of the entire congregation.
He said it in front of the congregation of children. Yeah. Elderly, didn't matter, just anybody. And his wife is in the front row. I believe she always sits in the front row. So
wow.
Yeah. So they talk about it a lot, and there's other people that can attest to that. There's people that have reached out to me and said they've gone to that church for years, and it's not abnormal for him to talk about himself and his wife. So, even to underage girls.
So, wow. Thank you for speaking up, Paige. Thank you for doing this. So, especially after you tried to report it almost a decade ago, and got no response from the authorities on this. And thank you for re-upping this, for bringing this back up and stepping forward here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
Um, it's weird because I usually do political interviews,
Mhm.
and this is the point where I would say, well, where can we find your work?
Oh,
Oh, hey,
yeah.
where you can, right? Exactly. This is not one of those interviews.
Yeah, a little different.
This is this interview, and again, you've just listened to it. The sensitive nature of all this, folks. But you really should listen to Paige's original video, which she posted, it was like 9 days ago, something like that. um you should give a listen to it. And as also, I mean, very as somebody who attempts to do video editing fairly okay, a very nicely edited video. That's yeah, so
Thank
congrats.
you. Like I said earlier, I kind of rushed to make it, so that means a lot that that you think it's nice because
Yes.
I try to just get it out. But yeah,
Hey, not bad for on the fly.
thank
Seriously.
and anybody who wants to listen can actually see the letter that I wrote back then, and it's backdated. I had emailed it to myself, so you can see that this isn't just something I whipped up. If you're skeptical, and people were giving me a hard time for saying paternal on my video, I just knew him by Pastor Nathan at the time. So, but yeah, you can go see all of that over there, and we talk about it. So.
Yeah, you and your fiance did a good job of keeping contemporaneous notes on this, which is important.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wish I had more of the emails and things like that, but at least we have the letter that we sent out.
Do you remember who, like, do you remember any of the other church folks that signed you up in this process?
I can say who signed me up, but I don't think that she was had any like wrongdoing in this. But
Sure.
her name was Maria Davis, and she handles a lot of the ongoings as far as marriage counseling and things like that. But like I said, I don't have any issues with her. I don't recall her doing anything.
Yeah.
So, but that is who signed me up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing story and important. Thank you, Paige, for doing this. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. All right, guys, wrap this up here. I'm Tom Lobianco. Head on over to 24 Site News. If you're watching this, probably seen the entire story that we have written up there. If you go down into the comments, the story, Paige's original video is linked at the top of the news story. It's also linked at the top of the comments. Check it out. Like, share, and subscribe to both of our channels. Make sure that you get all the updates on this, and reach out too. If if you know something, you reach out to us. Okay. And take good care of each other, guys.